Hey guys, James here with Waterford Business Solutions. And continuing on with kind of our ServiceTitan series, we've been doing a lot of that this year because it is honestly one of the biggest CRMs out there for our niche, for our contractors, HVAC, electrical people. And we work with a lot of clients that work in ServiceTitan. And so we wanted to provide some information for y'all because there's not a lot of good information out there. There's not a lot of videos out there. And quite frankly, ServiceTitan support sucks. Trust me, we have to work with them all the time to set up clients and fix client issues. And to a point, I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. So we like to provide some videos here for you guys. And this week we're going to jump into talking about, well, I just got ServiceTitan. How do I set up my ServiceTitan to integrate with my QuickBooks Online? So now, if you guys are just starting with ServiceTitan or having issues with the ServiceTitan QuickBooks integration, or even trying to figure out if ServiceTitan is worth it for your business, like I said, we work with a ton of clients that utilize ServiceTitan as their CRM and help them to keep their finances or at least set up their finances in their books for operations there. So we're happy to work with you there and help you. Feel free to reach out to us here at Waterford Business Solutions by either shooting us an email at info@waterfordbusiness.com or giving us a call at 864-351-0852. Now, ultimately, when we're looking at integrating with QuickBooks Online, and I do apologize, I can't really give you a tutorial here because ServiceTitan doesn't have a good sandbox mode or anything like that, but I'm going to be as detailed as I can with these steps here. The first thing we're going to need to do is set up your business units in ServiceTitan. So we're going to go navigate to your settings in ServiceTitan. Find your operations in ServiceTitan, and then we're going to click on business units. Business units are essential. They have to be set up for establishing the link between ServiceTitan and QuickBooks Online. Without these set up, it will not work. They function similarly to class tracking in QuickBooks Online and are used for reporting and mapping purposes. Now, what that means is with QuickBooks, we have to have a QuickBooks Online Plus or Advanced account if you're using ServiceTitan, because classes do not exist in any lower subscription. So if you are using ServiceTitan, you have to have that Plus or Advanced to integrate with business units, or it does cause issues with the integration here. Multiple business units can be connected to QuickBooks Online, and this allows for segmentation by department, trade, or location. So if you're an HVAC company that also has a plumbing division, we're able to track your HVAC versus plumbing, or we're able to track your install versus service, or we're able to track your Fort Lauderdale sales versus your Miami sales, things like that, by using these business units. It provides a lot of information in ServiceTitan, so you definitely want to make sure you set those up there, but it also provides a lot of information in QuickBooks because now we can break your expenses down, your cost of goods sold, your labor, your vehicle expenses, your advertising, all of that stuff down by these different business units. It's a great thing to have access to. It's a great thing to be able to utilize there. But you have to make sure that you set it up correctly in the first place. You do need to ensure that each business unit is clearly named and aligns with your QBO class structure if applicable. So you have to make sure that each one has a unique name, and if you're subbing business units or anything like that in QuickBooks, you have to sub them in ServiceTitan so that the naming culture matches up. Character by character, letter by letter, capitalization by capitalization, they all have to completely align there. The other thing to keep in mind is QuickBooks limits you to only having 40 classes in QuickBooks. That means in ServiceTitan, if you set up more than 40 business units, it's going to cause issues in the integration. Now, in saying that, I've never seen someone with more than 40 business units. So that should never be an issue, but I figured it might be a little helpful tidbit to have out there just in case. Now, Once we have those business units set up and we make sure that the business units in ServiceTitan are matching the business units in QuickBooks, and we can get to those business units in QuickBooks by going to the gear icon and then searching for list, and then you'll see classes there in QuickBooks. So that'll show you all of your different classes in QuickBooks. So you can have QuickBooks open here, ServiceTitan open here, and make sure that those business units classes, all the naming conventions, they all exist in both systems. Copy and paste the names exactly as they are from both systems to get that accurate. Once we do all of that, then we can go ahead and connect your ServiceTitan to QuickBooks. We're going to go ahead and do that by going to, once again, Settings, but this time we're going to go ahead and look at QuickBooks Online. From QuickBooks Online, we're going to start with connecting business units. So we're going to go in there and we're going to click the checkbox and click Connect to begin the connection process. That's going to go ahead and allow ServiceTitan and QuickBooks to connect to each other. It's going to have you log into your QuickBooks Online to set up that connection. It's going to bring up a QuickBooks Online authentication pop-up where you'll need to sign in, put in your two-factor authentication, everything like that, and allow the two systems to merge together. After connecting, assign each ServiceTitan business unit to its corresponding QBO class. So again, we've set this up in both systems already. They should be named pretty much the same thing already. So you're just going to go down that list and make sure that you assign so that they match exactly to everything going on there. Then we want to go through and confirm your sync preferences. What data syncs, how frequently it syncs, everything like that. So obviously we're going to want your invoices to sync, we're going to want your payments to sync, we're going to want your bank deposits or credit card transactions to sync. We're going to want to see all of that so that all of your invoices, all of your payments, all of your bank deposits, all of that is showing up over in QuickBooks. How frequently? Normally I recommend that you do a sync at least once a day. That's my preference, but keep in mind a sync is only going to occur if you've got everything batched. Also, it doesn't per se hurt to do it manually, because you do need to pretty much manually batch all of your invoices in the first place and payments in the first place. So rather than just having it auto sync, you can just, after you batch it, you can manually sync it. Or you can go ahead and say, no, let's go ahead and auto sync once a day. If you're going to do an auto sync, I think once a day is a good time period to look at doing that. Once we get the sync set up, now we have to make sure that your general ledger is set up between QuickBooks and ServiceTitan. So again, we're going to navigate to your settings. This time we're going to click on accounting, and then we're going to click on general ledger accounts. GL accounts determine how financial transactions flow into QuickBooks Online. This is super, super, super important. ServiceTitan, unlike other programs, doesn't come with fail-safes built in. We deal with clients all the time that mismap things and get duplicating income or transactions going into balance sheet accounts, etc., that they don't need or they don't understand. If you do not understand how your accounting works, make sure whoever is setting up this integration does. Do not hesitate to reach out to someone to educate you and help you with this. Most of the time, required accounts usually are going to include your income account. Any type of product and service should always be mapped to an income account. Never map a product and service to anything outside of an income account. Maybe to a liability account if we're doing a deposit product and service, but that's getting complicated there. And again, you should be a more advanced accounting user before you're doing that. If you're not an advanced accounting user, all of your products and services need to go ahead and be mapped to income accounts. Your bank accounts, that's going to be where we have bank deposits created. Only bank deposits are going to go to your bank accounts. Accounts receivable, That's going to be where we have your money go when you send an invoice. It's going to go to accounts receivable, and it's going to sit in accounts receivable until it gets paid. At that point, then it's going to go to undeposited funds or payments to deposit. That is going to hold the payment until you deposit it to the bank account. These bank accounts, AR, undeposited funds, we see a lot of different things here that people get screwed up and they map incorrectly, and now it causes issues with their AR. It causes incorrect bank account information or bank balances in QuickBooks because there's stuff going on in there that's not actually occurring. It's causing negatives in undeposited funds. So just be really careful with this setup. Now, you can optionally, if you choose to, track your accounts payable in ServiceTitan. You can go ahead and also map an accounts payable account and map your material and expense accounts to help with the mapping of all of that. Once again, just be really cautious of this so that it doesn't cause more issues. If you are a newer accounting user or a newer ServiceTitan user, I would recommend holding off on the AP tracking side of everything integrating with QuickBooks until you've got a solid AR tracking with your invoices, your bank deposits, your payments, and you make sure all of that's working. Because the AP is just adding on an extra layer of complexity. Let's make sure that we get one layer functioning and working correctly before we dive into things more there. It's super important to keep in mind that GL accounts in ServiceTitan must exactly match those in QuickBooks Online. That's going to include any naming and any sub-account formatting. So once again, have your QuickBooks open here and your ServiceTitan open here. Go ahead and navigate to your chart of accounts by going to expenses and chart of accounts in QuickBooks to see your chart of accounts so that you can make sure that any naming conventions work exactly. And if you've got sub-accounts, let's say that you've got a income account subbed install subbed HVAC, or you've got income subbed HVAC subbed install, you need to make sure that you use a colon in ServiceTitan to go ahead and indicate that sub-account. So if it was called, if you look in your QuickBooks and it's income, indented in HVAC, indented in install, in ServiceTitan we would call it income, HVAC, install. That would be the name to track that file path. Because if you don't track that file path there and you just do install, or you do income HVAC install with no colons, it's going to create a new account into your QuickBooks and not map the way that you're looking at it there. If you're new to using QuickBooks Online or you've never used QuickBooks Online, start by setting up your chart of accounts in QuickBooks. Don't start in ServiceTitan. Get everything set up in QuickBooks and then mirror those accounts in your ServiceTitan under your general ledger settings. If you're an existing QuickBooks Online user and you're happy with your chart of accounts already, that's the key there. Make sure that you're already happy with it. Then just go directly into ServiceTitan, create your general ledger accounts there in ServiceTitan, and make sure that we match exactly to what we have in QuickBooks Online already by using that naming convention. Next step, we need to create your price book in ServiceTitan. Your price book in ServiceTitan controls all of the income mapping into your QuickBooks. So if you want more than just seeing what's income, if you want to see an income breakdown between your install and your service or your maintenance or your plumbing or your HVAC or whatever you may want to see a breakdown on, you have to set up the price book. And the price book in ServiceTitan requires that each and every item is mapped to a specific item. So if you're using an existing price book, whether it be from QuickBooks Online or another CRM, import it into ServiceTitan via CSV or whatever supported method they have. Then you need to ensure that all items in the price book are correctly mapped to the appropriate GL account in ServiceTitan. So if you have service call and you want that to go to service, you need to make sure that that service call price book item is mapped to the service GL account in ServiceTitan, and that service GL account is named and mapped to the service GL account or chart of account in QuickBooks. This is super complicated. This is an area where a lot of people just skim over, or they let ServiceTitan import it and be done with it, and it creates a ton of issues. Every single price book item will need to be mapped to a ServiceTitan GL account. Then go through and review your account here for duplicate items, for outdated pricing, for unmapped categories before you go live. Take the time to do this when you're getting set up rather than wait until you're already using it. Because if you've got duplicate items, it's going to cause errors between the integration. If your pricing's outdated and you go live and people are using it, then you're losing money and you're not making the rates that you should. If you've got unmapped GL categories, unmapped business units, unmapped general ledger accounts for your products and services, it's going to cause issues with the integration. So it's super, super, super important that you take the time to do all of this at the beginning before you go live. If you're a new user or those who are manually building a price book within ServiceTitan, build out all the service categories, all the tasks, all the material items with the proper general ledger account assignments as you go. Take the time, don't just rush through it and just put in a product name, description, and price. Make sure you're also doing that general ledger there to make sure everything is there. Now that is the basic integration that we have to worry about with ServiceTitan. Now, I would recommend that you go ahead and after you do all of this, test the workflow. Make sure that everything is working and create a test invoice or job in ServiceTitan. Export it to QBO and make sure that the data is coming over correctly, the mapping is all correctly, there's no failed export errors, all the data is showing up in the correct fields in QuickBooks, all the mapping is showing up in the correct income accounts, the correct AR accounts, the correct undeposited fund accounts, everything like that. And no income and payment details, all of those income payment details, all of that are appearing in their proper accounts, and we don't have any weirdness going on there. Doing one invoice or even doing 5 or 10 of these to check all of this and fix the issue before you go live and you're doing 10, 20, 30 invoices a day is going to save you a lot more time than having to go back and fix those 10, 20, 30 invoices a day after it's been occurring for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, etc. So take the time to confirm everything, and then also pull your reports in QuickBooks to make sure everything lines up with your income, your AR aging, everything like that. This is complicated. It is. But ServiceTitan is a complicated platform. While it can provide a ton of information, and arguably I will say, it is probably the best platform out there for the field services, for the home service industries and the trades. That is an arguable point, I'm not going to deny that, but it is a really good program there. So it's something very common, but because it's so good, there's a lot of back-end complications, and you've got to make sure you take the time to get those back-end complications set up and taken care of correctly. Guys, thanks for joining me today. If you've got other questions on ServiceTitan, we've got several other videos on our channel here. We're going to be putting out several more videos throughout the year, so I invite you to go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here so that you can keep seeing those. And we also have videos outside of that focusing on just accounting, financial, payroll matters, things like that that don't even involve ServiceTitan. So a lot of information we post every Monday morning to give you the best information possible. Go ahead and share this video with anyone that you think could use it. Comment if you've got any questions. Any engagement also really helps to spread the word and get this video out in front of people who could really use it. Until next week, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.